What's up everybody, and welcome to today's Tableau walkthrough. In this video, I will teach you how to create a table, a text table in Tableau. In Tableau, text tables are also known as crosstabs or pivot tables if you're familiar with Excel. But that's all you kind of need to know before getting into building an actual data visualization and a table. So there's two things you need to do before starting to build a data visualization. The first one is to open Tableau. As you can see, your screen should look like this in front of me. And then next, you need to connect your data source. So in the left panel, you can see this big connect wording here. You will need to scroll down for this particular data visualization to the saved data sources. These are the Tableau data sources that are provided to everybody that downloads Tableau software. We're going to work with the sample superstore data set, and this data set contains information about sales, customers, products, and orders from a fictional retail superstore. You can think of this as data that would be collected by either a Walmart or a Target for my American audience. Sorry, I don't have any other international grocery store that I can think of off the top of my head. But once you click this data source, it will direct you to a worksheet that looks like this. And once you get on this worksheet, before we get into building data visualization as a whole, I'm actually going to talk about the Tableau workspace. So as you can see my screen, this is what we consider a Tableau worksheet. And the sidebar contains our data pane and our analytics pane. Data pane shows our data source at the top, which is our sample superstore. Then it has the tables you have access to, the sheets, which are orders, peoples, and returns. And under the sheets, we have our dimensions and our measures. Our dimensions are highlighted in blue, and our measures are highlighted in green. And our dimensions are qualitative data, which means they're like names. And our measures are numerical or quantitative data. Then if we navigate to the right, we can see the pages shelf. And in the pages shelf, this allows you to add dimensions to this so that we can granularly switch views from to different pages. The next one is a filter, which is right below the pages. So filters gives you a subset of the data that you're currently working with. And in the marks card, which is right below the filters card, we have information on how to customize. So this is how you add customization to your data visualization. And then what you actually need to start to add data to your data visualization is the columns and the rows shelf. So the rows shelf is self-explanatory, adds rows to your data set, and the columns adds columns to your data set. These are going to be what you need to use to add data to your data visualization and also structure your data in the way that you want it to be structured. So now let me zoom out so you can get a bird's eye view of everything that I'm working with. But before I get into creating a table, I want to direct you to the right hand side of my screen and the right hand side of the toolbar, which is the Show Me panel. And the Show Me pane allows you to see the different data visualizations that Tableau is capable of. So you can either do Control 1 or Command 1 for the shortcut, but I am just going to click on the Show Me, but also going to zoom in first. If you click on the Show Me, you can see that there are several different database visualizations that are built into Tableau. And if you hover over one, which let's hover over the text table, we can see that down below where it says 4 text tables in bold, try 1 or more dimensions, 1 or more measures. So this is giving you hints and tips how to actually create a text table in Tableau. This is going to be useful if Tableau ever alters or automates your data visualization. This is where you can come back. You can come back to the Show Me tab and redo or recreate what you actually want to create in Tableau. So now let's get into building the text table. Let me zoom back out. To create a text table in Tableau, you need to drag at least 1 dimension into the row shelf, 1 dimension into the column shelf, and to complete this actual view, we need to drag at least 1 measure into the text on the marks card. To start the creation of the table, let's say we want to show the sales by the subcategory for each given year. To do this, we first need to get the subcategory. So the subcategory, if it's right under the product hierarchy, we can drag the subcategory to the rows, and then we want the order date to be our columns. And so now we have the subcategories on the rows, and then we have each year of a particular order. But you see that there is default values or ABCs that are hovered in there, and that's when we need to use the mark card to change these ABC values. So to do that, we want to actually look at the sales, so we drag these sales to the text value under the mark card. We dropped it in. It defaults to the sum of sales. We also have the ability to change this to this by clicking on it, clicking measure, and then you can get the average sales, the median sales, the count or the number of sales, and even count distinct. And we'll look in these in more detail later on, but this is kind of the initial video, so let's just keep it simple at first. Now that you have created this table, you probably want to know how to change the title of the table. Why the sheet 2 isn't really appetizing to the eyes. So how do we change this sheet 2? There's 2 different ways to actually change this sheet 2. The first way, and yours probably says sheet 1. For some reason mine defaulted to sheet 2, maybe because I opened the file too many different times. But the first way to actually change this sheet 2 name is by changing the name of the worksheet. So if I go down here, right to the bottom panel, we can click on this and change it to table. And if I zoom back out, you can see that now my value or my sheet name is changed to table. So the second option to change the title of a data visualization on a worksheet is to right click the title, hit edit title, and then by default the title of the worksheet is a sheet name, and you can delete this, and if you want more customization you can create your own name. Let's say we want to say it's my first table instead of just table, if I could spell first correctly. And so if we type my first table, click OK, now we can see that we've renamed our data visualization, have more customization on it, and this still remains the same. The title of the worksheet still remains the same. Now you have completed creating your first text table in Tableau. Thank you for watching.